Hi, welcome to this Blender video tutorial entitled Box Select, Circle Select. Box and Circle Select are two common methods for selecting multiple objects or multiple sub-object components, such as vertices, edges, or faces. To demonstrate Box and Circle Select, I've placed the default cube object in my Blender scene. I'll select the cube, tab into Edit Mode, and I will subdivide the cube object by clicking 3 times on the Subdivide button located in the left tool panel. I'll then press the A key to deselect all of the vertices. Note that I am in solid shading mode. I am also in vertex select mode. Note also that my Limit Selection to Visible button is turned on. This means that when two objects, or in this case two sub-objects, overlap, I will only be selecting the visible or front sub-objects. I'll go to Front Orthographic View by clicking on Numpad 1. To activate Box Select, I'll click on the B key. This creates a dotted crosshair. I will left-click and drag a box around a group of vertices. Then let go of my left mouse button, and any vertices within the box are selected. Notice that since the Limit Selection to Visible button is turned on, the selection is limited to the front vertices and not the overlapping back vertices. I'll go back to Front Orthographic View, Numpad 1, and I'll press the A key to deselect the vertices. I'll then turn off my Limit Selection to Visible button. Now when I make a selection, the overlapping back vertices of the cube will be selected. I'll press the B key to activate the box select. Hold down my left mouse button and drag a box around the same set of vertices. Release my left mouse button, and thereby selecting them. Notice that with the Limit Selection to Visible button turned off, the back vertices are also selected. I'll go back to Front View. Deselect the vertices by clicking the A key. And I'll turn back on the Limit Selection to Visible button. I'll now press the Z key and go into wireframe mode. Note that there is no longer a Limit Selection to Visible button available. This is because in wireframe mode, overlapping objects or sub-objects are always selected. I'll press the B key to activate the box select. Hold down my left mouse button and drag a box around the same set of vertices. Release my left mouse button, and thereby selecting them. Notice that in wireframe mode, the back vertices are also selected. In wireframe mode, overlapping objects or sub-objects are always selected. I'll go back to Front Orthographic View, Numpad 1, press the A key to deselect the vertices, and press the Z key to return to solid shading mode. Note that my Limit Selection to Visible button is still turned on. I will switch to Face Select mode by clicking on the Face Select button on the window header. When using Box Select, all objects or sub-objects, in this case faces, that are partially or totally within the box are selected. I'll press the B key to activate the box select. Hold down my left mouse button and drag a box around the same area as I did before. Then release my left mouse button. Note that the faces that were only partially within the box are also selected. Box Select is also a cumulative selection. That is, if something is already selected, clicking the B key and box selecting will automatically add to the selection. For instance, here the upper left faces of the cube are already selected. I'll press the B key and box select the faces in the lower right of the cube. Note that the faces are added to the existing selection. The box select can also be used to deselect. To deselect, you use the middle mouse button to drag the box, rather than the left mouse button. Here I will press the B key and hold down my middle mouse button and drag a box around some of the center faces. Then release the middle mouse button. Note that the faces that were partially or totally within the box are now deselected. Here I will press the B key, hold down my left mouse button, and drag a box around some of the center faces, then release the mouse button. Since I use my left mouse button to drag a box, the faces are added to the selection. I'll press the A key to deselect all of the faces. Many of Blender modelers prefer using the Circle Select method for selecting multiple objects or sub-objects. Here I will press the C key to activate the Circle Select. Notice that a dotted circle is displayed. The size of the circle can be controlled by the middle mouse scroll wheel. To make a selection, just left-click and drag the circle over the objects or sub-objects, in this case faces, and they are selected. To confirm the selection, right-click, and the dotted blue circle disappears, and the objects or sub-objects that were partially or totally within the circle are selected. This is a fast and easy method and quite controllable way to select multiple objects or sub-objects, and it's the preferred method used by many modelers. Like the box select, the circle select is also a cumulative selection. I'll press the C key and hold down my left mouse button and drag it over more of the cube's faces, and then right-click to set the selection. Note that the selected faces have been added to the selection. The circle select can also be used to deselect. To deselect, you use the middle mouse button to drag the circle rather than the left mouse button. Here I will press the C key, hold down my middle mouse button, and drag it over some of the faces, then release the middle mouse button. Note that the faces that were partially or totally within the circle are now deselected. I'll press the A key to deselect all of the faces. One interesting aspect of the circle select is that the selection is not confirmed until you right-click. For instance, I will press the C key, hold down my left mouse button, and drag over some of the faces. Then before I right-click, I'll select more faces. Then before I right-click, I'll use my middle mouse button to deselect some of the faces. Finally, I'll right-click to set the selection.